Welcome back to Carnage Unleashed, everyone. Just Kev and Zach with you here tonight, but Wade will be back. Don't worry. And we've got a great show lined up for you. Maybe a little quick one, but we've got Flag City Fight Night to recap with all of you, as well as my favorite segment, maybe a longer segment. We got SummerSlam, huge weekend for wrestling fans everywhere. Zach, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, other than it being humid as heck out there today. I mean, absolutely just drenched. You walk out just drenched, right? So that was the miserable part of the day. But other than that, I'm happy to be here with you, man. So I'm excited to jump in about this card because that was a heck of a night. First time I've ever been to a pro boxing, kickboxing card. I don't know about you, but first time I've ever been to one.
Yeah, it was a first for me. Was it a first for Ohio? I'm not really sure. It
No,
seemed
not for
very
Ohio.
unique. Not for Ohio. First for Carnage Media, that's for sure.
Yes.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a bit of a, I don't want to say full circle moment because that, we're not anywhere near done here. But as you know, my first card ever was a kickboxing card. I believe was Dylan helping with commentary that night. It might not have been the very first one, but I believe it was. And so to have him fighting his pro boxing debut on the card, somebody that was there on my first day, Marcelino also fought on my first day.
Right.
He was maybe the first or second interview back in those days. Believe it or not, folks, we actually had the kickboxer who won, come to the commentary desk and sit down for an interview. And so it was a huge moment. Also, spoiler alert for some that don't know, Zach and I both spent a little bit of time in Findlay. So it was a bit of a homecoming, just a huge night. I got to experience my favorite of all the combat sports, some kickboxing. And of course, the pro boxing was incredible. And the main event did not disappoint, Zach.
No.
We all saw the incredibly hyped up face-off video where I believe you asked each fighter one question. Is that right?
It was just one simple question, and it was just if you got any piece of advice, what would you give your opponent right now, or what piece of advice would you give your opponent since they're right here, right now? So, and we definitely saw what they were 15-minute clip of what they were talking about to each other, because they came at it. They went, knocked out. There was at least one knockdown, so I was happy about that. We got to see something, but it was a very good night, magical night, and it's up there on our YouTube channel right now already. So if you guys want to check that out after this, go over there, go over to our page, or just exit out of this one, roll down to the pages there, and go check out Kevin Walker versus Martin Tucker, because that was great. And we will get to that later tonight when we go and recap that. So just a reminder, go check that out. But starting us off, we had Rashawn Walls versus James Gibson. Now that one was a little bit of an early one. You know what I mean? It was an early fight that ended in the first round in the corner, though, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, the first round was completed, and for lack of a better term, Rashawn in his corner threw in the towel, I believe, due to a right shoulder injury. It was something that we thought we noticed at the commentary booth because early on, he was really loading up for that right hand. Like he was staying pretty firm. James has a unique attack where, he'll come at you from a lot of angles, and Rashawn was doing a pretty good job. I was impressed actually with his head movement because his feet weren't moving a lot. He was kind of staying in a stance where you could tell he was really loading that right arm up. And so he would pick his spots and just try to, boom, throw a hammer. And that seemed to be working for him early on. But we noticed about halfway into that first round that he wasn't necessarily throwing it as much. It seemed like maybe potentially he had hurt himself. And then, of course, after a still tightly contested first round, he still held his own defensively. They ended up calling the fight from the corner. So I believe, a little bit of guesswork there, but I believe it was that right shoulder.
And if that's the case, a lot of the case, like when you're loading up like that and then you miss your opponent, you're overreaching and you're really throwing real hard, real fast like that. So I can understand that if he was loading up on all those punches and he was really throwing that, he could have thrown a shoulder out. That it's very possible, especially if you're going to miss. You're expecting to hit something, and when you completely whiff and miss, it'll just do that to that shoulder.
Yeah, so it was unfortunate because I thought it was an intriguing matchup and pretty even in that first round. So I would have loved to see that one go the distance. Maybe we'll be able to get them to rematch at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, Rayshawn is on the mend and healing up. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat here.
Well, no, I think so too. I'd love to see them fight again. That would be awesome. But then going forward, we had Austin Roberts versus Caden Hastings. And I remember this being a very entertaining fight just because Caden Hastings was throwing all kinds of kicks out there. I mean, he was doing a lot of spinning kicks. And I think he was really keeping Austin back just because of that, whether it was because he was doing a really good job of just keeping him a distance with it or because Austin didn't like the way they felt when they landed.
Yeah, he's great at creating angles. Caden is. Whether it was the spinning kicks, he mixed in some Superman punches as well. Like he just gets very creative. And for Austin, I think this would be a great matchup in an MMA octagon, to be honest, because Austin is, from what I've seen, a great grappler. So if you had sort of that as the equalizer, I think they're very evenly matched. And in this case, Austin held his own. He's tough. I think Caden is just one of those guys that throws from a lot of unique angles. His ability to do those spin kicks. And then in kickboxing, it's not like you can catch it. So, if you can see it coming. We saw a couple of guys, honestly, in the amateur bouts that
catching them
kind of forgot and tried to catch them. So I think that is something. It was good to see. Austin still had his moments in there, but Caden is so creative in the striking game. He's a lot of fun to watch in a kickboxing sense. We've seen a few of his MMA fights so far on Carnage Media, so go check those out later on the YouTube channel. But yeah, it was a good matchup. But that was my big takeaway too, Zach. Like you had mentioned, just sort of a lot of memorable attacks from Hastings.
Hey, when someone does stuff like that and, you're not used to seeing that because, we've been used to boxing and kickboxing. You don't see too many MMA fighters, at least at our level of what we filmed, doing a lot of spinning back kicks or any of those at all. So it's nice to see, and it's memorable because we don't see it all the time.
Yeah, and to Austin's defense, not all of those landed flush either.
Right.
They still always look good, It's like
they're flashy. They're gonna look good.
They're gonna look good even when they get blocked. So overall, great bout though. Those are two guys that whenever I see them on the card, I make a note sitting there at the commentary desk. Like I know it's going to be a good fight. They're both gamers and just a real styles clash that, again, I will reiterate, I would love to see maybe in a future Carnage fight series or something. I don't know anybody that can make things like that happen. So I'm just putting it out there to the universe.
Come to me. All right. Well, and then moving on, we went to, by the way, Caden Hastings did win that match. I don't know if we mentioned that or not, but yes, Caden did win that match by decision, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yep. Unanimous decision on that one. Yep, that's correct.
Okay. And then moving on, we had, was it Jay Bayshaw versus Josh Frazier? And this was a close one because this was a unanimous decision, right?
This one on my notes I have this was a split decision in favor of Jay Bayshaw. This is the one fight of the night where I laid out my usual line of I'm glad I don't get to judge these. And I was actually had a judge sitting next to me at that point who
Yeah, that's
also
right.
agreed. You know, in my defense, even Diamond said that, you know, she wouldn't have loved having to judge that first round in particular, I think was when it came up. Two very evenly matched guys. What were your thoughts on this one, Zach?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they have like a Superman punch out at one point? Weren't they both like firing Superman punches at each other? Because I know Josh Frazier is he likes to throw those. And if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, I remember them both like exchanging like back and forth a couple of times, Superman punches to each other, because it was just a big old brawl, and I loved it. It was nice. You know, I like seeing that. You know, they're coming out. I think they're the biggest guys we had on the card. So there are our heavyweights of the evening, and they came and they delivered. It was beautiful. I loved it. Exchanging punches. Need to work a little bit on that defense, I believe, on both guys' parts. You know, moving that head more, getting out of the pocket, doing that stuff probably would have helped out, but it makes it for an entertaining fight because they're basically brawling. I loved it.
Yeah, it was a great spot in the card for that too, like where it's basically the co-main of the kickboxing card. That's the way I chose to look at it anyway.
It's a good way to look at it. Yes, I like that.
I'm like, listen here, we've got our main event for kickboxing, and then we'll move on to the boxing card. So I thought those guys put on a show. That was a fight that I believe even at the time I said I would just like to see this again. This was one. Sometimes you get a vibe for a fight, and you're like, man, if we can get a rematch, not to say it'll go one way or another, but this would make a great trilogy. If it happens to, this was very even. If it should just happen to go the other way on that second one, wow, we've got something here for a third. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's still an entertaining rematch because it was so close. Speaking of Caden Hastings, it was his. He had one of those in December that we ended up putting on the rematch on Carnage Fight Series, right? So there are those moments where you see two guys fight and you're like, I'd really like to see them go again. And that's how I feel about Jay and Josh, whether it's kickboxing. I know after having the pleasure of speaking with Josh, he was a color commentator on our last charity event stream. You can check that out later. Know that even in the MMA game, he loves striking. That's his preferred method. So whether it's a kickboxing rematch or an MMA rematch, it might look pretty similar either way.
Yeah.
I just like to see these two fight again and see how it plays out. But a very good fight. I think both guys have a bright future. So keep a lookout for those names.
Yeah, I would love to even see, you know, a rematch in boxing, a rematch in MMA. And you know what I mean? You do the little holy trinity of all three sports there and do that.
There we go. Okay. I like that. Yeah, that's one way to settle it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You get one in each discipline. And maybe you do the MMA last because then you're mixing them all together. But still, I think that would be pretty good to see them going at it in all three sports like that, because we do film them. So, you know, we know some promotions. We can maybe get that to go off. I'll talk to some people, see what I can't figure out here.
I'm there, dude. I'm there. Like, oh, okay. So Jay says, let's rematch MMA. All right.
There we go.
Hey,
see, there we go.
I'm here for it.
I love it. Yes, I would love to see that. I want to see if I can't get that set up.
I think for this one, it honestly, you know, probably since I am splitting these cards, for me, it was probably fight of the night on the kickboxing side.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Like it was the best. And you got it. You got the full, all of the rounds. So this was a great one, I think. So let's get that MMA rematch. Come on.
I love it.
Come on, boss. Make it happen.
Okay. Then we're going to I guess the main event of the kickboxing, Ryan Cornell versus Bryson Jones, which had a very interesting finish. If I'm not mistaken from that, that was a knee to the rib, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you are correct. It was a knee. So what, the second time in a month, maybe like 6 weeks,
yeah,
we've seen one ended by knee to the rib.
2 months.
Not
Not
2
hold on,
months,
not
2
even
months,
2 months.
okay.
It's like a month and a week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in about a month, something I hadn't seen before. We've seen it happen twice now, with this one ending via TKO due to a knee to the
Yeah.
rib. So Bryson Jones got the victory. I kind of use this word over too much sometimes, but I really mean it this time. A vicious knee
Yeah.
to the ribs. It was rough. Now, Ryan is a very tough guy, and it was a good fight. Like I still think that Bryson probably might have had a lead at that point anyway, because of those knees, like
Yeah.
because of all that damage he was putting onto the body. And I think it really, over time, as we talked about, as anybody really talks about, like, you do damage to the body, it slows things down, and then that adds up to more openings and more opportunities to do
Mhm.
damage. So he just really utilized that well. But to see it finish that way, Zach, is that like, it feels like something that's pretty rare. What were your thoughts on that one?
Well, because I mean, we never saw that in any of our kickboxing shows. We never saw any finishes like that. So, like, to me, yeah, I would say that is rare, at least for us. We don't see it all that often, and he did a fantastic job, like you said, of utilizing body shots. It's my favorite thing myself as a fighter to do. Target that body. Not only is it diminishing their stamina, because it just does, and then just the damage is inflicting on the body, because now their hands want to come down because they think that it's going there. It's already hurting. They want to protect it. So those hands come down. You do a nice fake to the body, come straight to the head. It's beautiful. That's why I love going to the body. And I'm so glad that he did go to the body like that. And it's just nice to see that work. And then he just, boom, boom, eroded that body away. And he ended up winning because of it. I mean, he did a fantastic job doing it. I don't know if you ever have, but I've been put on a knee because of a liver shot or a really good body shot. So it does not feel good. It is not something that sometimes you can just wince off. It's something that your body just reacts. Boom, you're going down.
Yeah, you have no control over it. And it was a great fight for him. And, you know, speaking of the striking grappling event, I mean, Bryson put on a great performance at that as well. I mean, he did at least a round or two of kickboxing, did some grappling, and he's somebody that I'm just really looking forward to watching his next 2 or 3 MMA fights, because he seems to have put a lot of it together. And
Yes.
he looks like he's really dangerous in there right now. So hoping to see Ryan get back into it soon. You never know if that, like you said, it could have just been because of the place of the shot. If it's a liver shot, that's honestly probably what I'm hoping for. Broken ribs probably takes you out a little
For a
bit
little bit.
longer.
Yep.
So we want to see him back, because it wasn't that he fought poorly.
No.
He didn't. And I've seen him have good fights on previous cards as well. So I look forward to seeing him get back into it. But I think the takeaway from that was that Bryson just really looked great. And maybe that's a little bit of recency bias, but for me, that was like 2 times in the last 3 weeks that I've seen him fight, and he just looked really crisp, and seems to have really put together a lot of combos, a lot of eye levels, because we've just spent a lot of time talking about knees, but his punching combos looked great as well. That's what was opening that up. The changing of the eye levels was a big part of it. So a great kickboxing main event finish, as odd as it was. So that set the stage after a brief musical intermission. That felt pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
We're sitting there just, felt like working the Super Bowl. We have at that point on the pay-per-view, we've got Martin versus Kevin, our main event face-off interview playing, so they can get a little taste of what's to
What's
come.
coming. Yeah.
And then we've got a live performance in the arena, and I've just like, man, I've never had this much time to breathe in the middle of a pay-per-view. So like, all right, this is neat. Okay, what's going on here? We got a concert. That's cool. And then we were right back into it for the main event card, 3 fights. So it's almost like you have dual co-mains in that situation, right? When all 3 are pro boxing, there's 3 fights. And we led off with Dylan Budka versus JD McNett, two guys who you can find quite a lot of tape on this very channel. Very impressive fighters. So I'll let you start with this one, Zach. What were your thoughts on Budka v. McNett?
Well, kind of like I was saying in the last fight, Dylan did a really good job of changing levels and where he was throwing, head or body. He was doing a very good job of mixing it up. JD did a fantastic job as well. It's not like, Dylan just came in and completely dominated. Dylan just warmed down is what he did. JD was still, no matter how much Dylan was coming forward, JD was too. JD was coming forward. He was throwing his shots. He was trying to put combos together, especially at the very beginning. It wasn't until the later rounds that you started to see JD not throw as much. And that was because those body shots were taking effect. I mean, and it ultimately caused JD to be to lose the fight. I mean, they called that in which round did they call that in? I'm trying to remember.
I believe it was the third round.
Third round. Okay.
That's what I have.
And it was a four round. All of these were 4 round 4 round fights. So
main event was 6. Yeah. But
that's
these first
right.
2 4-round bouts. Yeah, but you're right. So third round. And yeah, I agree. Just to add to that a little bit, Dylan, I think in the first round just played a very defensive game, as Diamond called it at the desk. I told her I would steal this. He was collecting data, just really kind of stayed in his shell, played defensively. And then as things opened up in the second and third round, it was the body shots, and it was really well-placed body hooks that I felt like were what were doing the damage. And that's what you can do at times when you're the taller and longer fighter as well. Because it wasn't that JD wasn't covering up. It's just that Dylan was aiming his shots outside of that coverage and really putting those in. Worked a lot of feints in as well. So I do think he looked crisp. He looked sharp. JD, as you mentioned, had his moments as well where he looked great. He got some shots in too. But over time, I think, was Dylan's knockdown also a body shot?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yep. It was a body shot that took him down. And that was in the second round, wasn't it? Because he did. Okay. The second round. Yeah. He had, because he was doing a really good job of setting him up. Whether it was if he was going to the right side, he was setting it up with a nice jab and then slinging that to the body that way. So he was doing a really good job of getting JD to bring his hands up with that jab and then just going to the body. It was a beautiful setup. You can't ask for anything more when you're doing that. You know what I mean? And then and like you said, JD just wasn't quick enough to get his hands down to protect. And then if he was, Dylan was just slinging them right around him. Yeah, that's all he was. He was using his length, coming in, using his length, doing a very good job of placing those shots where they needed to be.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that we discussed in commentary potentially for JD was that he was maybe, as the shorter fighter, just coming straight in and straight out, as opposed to trying to take different angles, and that can also work to Dylan's benefit because when you use the longer fight, he can reach you. He can still get you from there. So, but it was a tight contest in those first couple of rounds. In the third round, it was Dylan's fight. So congrats to him. Obviously, big announcement came after that. So that's a pro boxing debut. And Zach, obviously, I think I got to hand the baton to you on this one. Do you have news on Dylan's upcoming?
Yeah. Dylan is now going to be headlining Carnage Fight Series 3, and that will be in Findlay, Ohio, in August 23rd. So you want to stick around for that. And if you do follow Carnage Fight Series, it will be an opponent that you've seen before. You will remember him in our last main event against Quentin Richard, Jimmy Sandlin. Jimmy Sandlin battled Q in a tough fought battle. I mean, both of them were just bloody. I mean, Kevin got both of their bloods all over him. So it was a great fight, which was something that was a little different because we all thought it was going to be a jiu-jitsu match because that's how they were. But instead, they both showcased their stand-up game, and it was beautiful. So I think this is going to be a great matchup. I think it's going to be solid. I don't know what we're going to get because we don't know. Is it going to go to the ground? Is it going to be a stand and bang? I don't know anymore. I'm excited to see how this one's even going to play out. So if you want to check out that last fight, it's right here on Carnage Media YouTube channel. So go check that out after this. But beautiful. I'm excited for that. I can't wait to get Dylan on a Carnage Fight Series card. That's I'm excited about that too.
It's a great story. We are very fortunate to have this one. It's a great matchup because, as you mentioned, Jimmy and Q went through a war. That was maybe fight of the year. I think it's already nominated for fight of the year.
Is it?
To Q's credit, I believe both Carnage Fight Series bouts that he's had are nominees for fight of the year, at least for Ohio. So that's something, gang. If you haven't seen that, it was a fight of the year contender, not based on my humble opinion. That's like, it's an official nominee for an award about that. So he's going to come in having just missed. It was a close fight. A lot of times your fight of the year candidates aren't one-sided, right? So it was an incredible bout. That was when you really didn't know up until those final moments, which you could have made an argument either way throughout. And like, as you mentioned, with the striking, and obviously Dylan showed us what his stand-up game could look like, and there were no kicks included, so we don't know. Now he'll be working on that. Obviously, a guy with a strong wrestling background, and as you mentioned, we expected the last bout to be more ground-oriented, so it could turn into that. But now we also have reason to believe it could just essentially be a kickboxing match. So
it could be. I know that's what you're hoping for.
Oh yeah, you know it. So we're looking forward to that. And I was looking forward to this co-main event. And then let me say this, the real one, Marcelino Rangel did not disappoint. He had a great walkout, as he does, but he took on Logan Reynolds, and this one, Zach, was over very quickly.
Yes, it was.
And I think Lino, it was one big right hand in the first few seconds, got that opening knockdown, and it seemed like potentially,
you just rang my bell.
Point of view, and his bell stayed rung, and that Logan was still a little wobbly on his feet. And credit to Lino, he could sense that, and he kept the pressure on, and then it was over in the first minute, I believe. 56 seconds into the first round. TKO. So great job to him. Big momentum builder, right? To get a win like that.
Exactly. I mean, like you said, that's just what happened. He rung his bell. He just couldn't recover from it. I mean, that happens. You get your bell rung real well. Your legs just don't want to cooperate or listen to what you got to say. And I think that's what happened to Logan in this matchup. He just unfortunately just had his hands down at the wrong time, and Lino and got him real good.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what comes next for Lino. And I know Diamond mentioned that she's trained with Logan before, so I expect we'll see him again. And I'm hoping to see him bounce back and have a good performance in the next bout.
He's normally an MMA guy, so I think that's where his game is normally he's a ground guy. That's where he feels comfortable. So it's good to see, though, that those guys are coming and doing boxing to work on those and really work on their skill set. So I love seeing that from Logan Reynolds. He did a fantastic job of working on that and getting in there and boxing. So, but then that leads us to our main event. Kevin Walker versus Martin Tucker. And if you guys have tuned in with us before, you saw how much they were heated up about this matchup. They really wanted it. They wanted to go at it, and they did not disappoint. That it was a beautiful matchup, exchanging left and right. Heck, one of our photographers got a nice picture. I don't know if you've seen it, Kevin, where they're both exchanging punches on each other, and it's beautiful. I loved it. That
could have been one of many moments. I've seen a lot of the photos. Great work to the photographer, by the way. I am a fan of their
Dr. Photos, I believe they are.
Dr. Photo, yeah. I love it. They all have a nice touch to them. So check those out. You've been sharing those on our Facebook page, right?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And they'll be there for our Carnage Fight Series 3 as well.
Ooh, big time.
So,
I love that. So, yeah, this one a bit I'll use the word surprised, all right? Lack of a better term. After their face to face and all the words that they had for each other, one could assume that it would get rowdy early, maybe sloppy if there's that much animosity
yeah.
between the two fighters. And I think to me, not surprise is putting it a little bit strong, but I was impressed at, despite all the bad blood, these guys both fought an incredibly technical bout. Not that there was dirty boxing in there.
Oh,
There
yeah.
definitely was. Don't get me wrong, but they really seemed to come in with a game plan and
Yep.
stuck with it throughout. And it was an incredibly technical fight. It's just that on top of that technique, you could tell they were putting a little extra into it.
Yes, they were.
And incredibly impressed by their stamina as well. The fact it felt that somehow in those later rounds, like that fourth and fifth round, it almost felt like there was more steam on those punches, even though they had been going at it. It's not like they were feeling each other out for very long in this fight. They were slinging heat and dug deep in those late rounds. They did not disappoint. There are some guys who are some great talkers out here in this world, and these guys both backed up what they said. They came and did what they said they were going to do. So what were your thoughts?
I thought, like you said, it wasn't sloppy, anger out there. You know what I mean? Like you've seen it before where some guys are mad at each other and they just start kind of slinging and they're just kind of throwing. No, this was technical. This was surgery. You know what I mean? Between the both of them, there were no wild punches of craze, overhands or anything. No, these were smooth, clean, technical punches right down, cutting their angles. They're cutting their angles, but they were right down the pipe. It was beautiful. They did a fantastic job, both of them, of just mixing up the combos and throwing them. But I just think that Kevin did a very good job of using his height to his advantage. He did a very good job of keeping Tucker at the end of his punch. And when you're the taller fighter, that's how you need to fight, especially like that. He didn't give up ground when he didn't need to. He only backed up when Tucker was coming in on him, and he just did a really good job of keeping him right at the end of his punches. He did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree. And to add to that, you mentioned staying at the end of the punches. He used his jab very well, and that ended up opening the door for left hooks. And then he started to lead with the left hook instead of the jab, and that would find a home. And when we talk about left hooks, it's also a great weapon to fight to parry a rushing in fighter, right? Like, oh, I'm going to give you a nice little check here. And I think those were his winning moves, essentially. That was what Diamond mentioned. You can check the tape, but I'm pretty sure her main takeaway was, Kevin Walker's jab and his ability to find a home with it. And, later into the fight, she was talking about, Martin's really got to get that hand up and kind of just keep it up there because those hooks were coming in, those jabs were coming in. So Martin was doing a good job at getting in. Like we were talking about previously, he was coming in at angles. He was getting combos. They both at times were looking to be counter fighters, right? Like there were moments where they would feint and try to bait each other in, and then throw a nice 4 or 5 piece combo. But Kevin, as you said, was able to just kind of keep him at arm's length. And those hooks, I think, were what really added up. And he did a good job of changing the eye levels too. So then when you got the left jab, the left hook, and the left body hook working, and you're as accurate as he was, it was very surgical. Like you said, the one I used during was, it felt like that when people talk about boxing being like a violent chess match, like this was an example of that, where it was, they weren't afraid to get dirty and hit each other a few times in a clinch.
Exactly.
But then when the time came, it was right back to fundamentals and principles, and I'm going to do what got me here. And so very impressed by both. I mean, I know Martin's story, for those who don't know it, he started his first pro bout was 20 years ago. I think
Yeah.
he spent about 10 years away from the sport,
Mm-hmm.
came back, looked incredible when you
Yep.
consider that, right? Like fighting a guy a lot younger than he is. And then Kevin Walker, to his credit, he told us his 1-3-1 record was deceiving because he was a guy that people with, to sort of paraphrase him, that like people tried to book him up against people with good records, thinking
Yep.
he'd be an easy win. And then he would put them to the test. And he said, I'm much better than my record. And I'll prove that to you. And I think he did that as well.
Yes, he
So,
did.
I mean, I feel like I already used some of this with a previous fight, but I still mean it in this case. I would love to see these guys fight again. 6 more rounds of that? Absolutely. That was my feeling at the end. I felt like they didn't get it out of their system. I felt like 6 rounds was not enough. There was one moment after the first or second round where we almost didn't get a break to the corner. The fight almost continued after the bell. Guys had words for each other. But it's still,
Yeah.
it would have been like, reminds me of like some Three Musketeers shit, dude, when they'd like slap you with a glove and say on guard. And then they'd like Olympic style fence you with the sword, where it was just like, yeah, I hate you. And I'm going to technically destroy you. It was just weird. You almost expect a brawl. And they kind of gave you one. Like they absolutely gave you one. But it was a technical performance as well. So go check that out, guys. It was a great fight, and that is available already. We still got the rest of the fights are to come on our YouTube channel, but that's one you can watch as soon as we're done. Or if you hate wrestling, once I start talking about that, you can go watch it then. Don't say I never did anything for you.
But with that being said, I think it is time, though, for everyone's favorite, the Wrestling Minute. And we're going to be talking about the SummerSlam. So, Kevin, where are we at? What we're doing? What's the lineup? How are we doing for these 2 days?
So it is upon us, sir. This Saturday, August the 2nd, is night 1. And then, of course, we have night 2. So it was, as if it wasn't enough to have 2 nights of WrestleMania, now we are getting 2 nights of SummerSlam. And what we are doing here, gang, is I'm going to go through the card. These fights not likely in order. I'm going to do my best to put them in the order I think they'll be in. And we're going to have Zach, what would you classify yourself? I would say maybe a casual fan at best, but how would you classify yourself?
I mean, that's how I'd probably say it. I'm a casual fan. I like to peek in and be like, oh, what's going on there? Oh, that's he just threw him through what? Oh, that's cool.
Perfect. So you're either going to prove or disprove a theory that I have, and I will expand on this in the SummerSlam preview. But I won't waste Zach's time. I won't make him sit here and listen to me rant about this thing for 20 minutes. And rant might be a strong word, but here we are. You're going to tell me one match at a time. Would you want to watch this live? And from there, you can expand as much as you want. So whether or not you know who these people are, so you can give your reasons as to why or why not you would watch. And then I'm going to keep a little tally over here. And we're trying to determine, is SummerSlam worth 2 nights? Does this need to be a 2-night show, or is this, to put all the cards on the table? My current thesis is that the TKO merger and some of that corporate stuff may have some side effects, okay? To where selling 2 tickets at these incredible prices that most fans certainly can't afford. Maybe is that really what's best for the product, or is this just a strictly business decision? So that's where Zach is going to help me as somebody that doesn't regularly watch the product. Those people TKO doesn't have to care about, right? Like they're going to get your 12 hours of attention no matter what. So they want Zach here, right? They want him to go get Peacock to watch this. So we're going to find out if this is worth $8, You know, that's all. That's a month of Peacock is $8, dude. So come on, dude. Don't be too harsh on us here, Zach. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
First match Saturday night: Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross has been beating Sami Zayn up with a bat lately.
Who?
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So fair enough. For the marks, love this one. Karrion Kross is internet famous now. He's definitely an industry plant being disguised as an indie. It's what do they call it? AstroTurf.
Sure.
Yeah, like it's a fake grassroots
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
movement.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
yeah.
he's definitely a company guy that they've dressed up to be this anti-authority guy, and he cut some post-WrestleMania promo about tell the guy in the back to go fuck himself. And it's like that the same guy who's been pushing you down everyone's throat for the last 3 years. Okay, yeah. Well, maybe not 3 years. In the NXT years. Anyway, people love Sami Zayn. The internet loves Karrion Kross. So the marks like me are interested enough, I guess, in that one, but I don't blame you for not knowing who those guys are. The next one, you may recognize some names: Randy Orton and country music star Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul, current lawsuit defendant.
Did Jelly Roll just sit on him?
And Drew McIntyre in a tag team match. Can he? Maybe, yeah. To Jelly Roll's credit, he's putting more effort into this than Travis Scott did. So, we haven't talked about that yet. Travis Scott got fired from the WWE, and his agent is like the chief of the board over there. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, when you punch somebody like that,
I can't believe it didn't work. Who could have seen that coming based on his one performance?
Oh, shoot.
Drew McIntyre, who's in this match, in a little bit of kayfabe, actually said on Logan Paul's podcast that Travis Scott ruined WrestleMania. So,
wait, Logan said that?
No, Drew McIntyre said that, which means potentially that WWE creative doesn't care that he's saying that. You know, I'm just saying, like, he didn't get in trouble for saying it, to my knowledge. He's fighting in SummerSlam in 3 days.
Good.
So they are full on, gloves are off. They're still using his song for Raw, though.
Well, that's probably because they bought it and now they got to use it. Otherwise, it's a waste of money. That's why they're doing 2 shows. Dang it.
Man, how do you get fired on your day off, too, man? That's crazy.
How old is Randy Orton, by the way?
He's like Ra's al Ghul, dude. He's got some fountain in his basement where he just like.
It. I'm just saying, like, I feel like Randy's been around since freaking
early 2000s. It's been 20 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you can't in wrestling, but still, that's a. I mean, heck yeah, you guys still got Ric Flair out there still wooing.
Well, he's not quite there yet. I think Randy probably has a good 2 years left in him. He doesn't wrestle. I don't want to say he doesn't wrestle a full-time schedule, but when you're a guy like that, and he's still in good shape, like when you see him, he still has a six-pack or whatever. He still can't do everything, but his moves were mainly kicks and punches and then an RKO. You know, he was never an off the top rope guy. He was always has
so he's why can't I think of his name?
Stone Cold. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, G.O.P.
Very, very similar. Like one of his signature moves is he punts a guy in the temple when he's laying down. He just kicks you in the head. You know, so his offense is sort of built for being older. Like he can kind of get away with it. And they love his song, and he's a legend. So 2 to 3 weeks out of the month, he can just go out there for 2 minutes and cut a promo, and the fans are happy because they got to see Randy Orton. And then he just wrestles at a pay-per-view, and he's good enough at the promos where he can keep you interested. So, unless, of course, for my humble opinion, you tag him with a country music star and have him fight Logan Paul in which case I could give a shit. This will be the one. I know this is not the exercise, but just so you know, this is my bathroom break episode. This is the one where if I still haven't ordered the pizza yet, this is the match where I will go order that damn pizza because I could not care less about Logan Paul. I feel bad for Drew McIntyre for having to be in this stupid match. But this isn't about me. It's about you, Zach. How you feel about Jelly Roll and Randy Orton and Logan Paul?
I like Randy. I mean, Logan, I could care less about. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's where you lost me, was when you mentioned his name. But I mean, I like to see Randy. I mean, okay, you bring a star in, whatever. I mean, no offense, but like, what is Jelly Roll gonna do? Like, I feel like he's gonna be more of like the sideline guy that gets to play patty cake with Logan Paul on the side while Randy and McIntyre actually wrestle.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be the hot tag situation. And that's what's weird because, like you said, Randy's kind of old. He's good at the job. So I'm not saying he can't sell, but do you really want your legend, your 20-year veteran to be the one out there? Because general logic would say a guy like Jelly Roll probably hasn't done a ton of work. He's going to be the hot tag, right? Like, so Randy's going to get beat up for 10 minutes.
Yep.
And he's going to tag Jelly Roll in, which how great does that make one of your all-time legends look that he hot tags in the fucking obese musician to come in? And that's always my issue with it, is it doesn't benefit the business to have people with full-time jobs come in and do the job as well as you can. Like, even the matches that went well, like, oh man, Bad Bunny can do a Mexican destroyer or a Canadian destroyer, depending on where you're from. Okay, great. Should he do it though? Because that's a finisher for a lot of guys who do this for a living. So maybe we shouldn't have guys who make beats for a living come in and do it in their first fucking match ever. Maybe don't do that. Like, it's.
So you're not gonna like it if Jelly Roll jumps off the top rope, son?
The ring isn't gonna like. I'm sorry. That's very rude, Kevin. Stop it. Stop it. That's inconsiderate. The dude has lost a lot of weight, and I'm being very rude to him.
If he does go off the top ropes, it better be on Logan Paul. That's all I gotta say.
It better be a 5-star frog splash. I expect his finisher to be a choke slam. That or like a fucking punch or something. Where they're like, oh, it's a. Don't get me started about. You gotta love a good Superman punch as a finisher. Other than that, keep the punches out of wrestling. All right. We're all suspending our disbelief on that front. Don't use it as a finisher. All right. It's not. Give me the choke slam for Jelly Roll, but no, I'll be missing that one. Speaking of the Superman punch, we've got Roman Reigns.
Okay.
Frequent user of a Superman punch, and main event Jey Uso, the guy who's got everybody yeeting. WWE stole the yeet copyright. I don't know. They might have bought it. They might have bought it legally, but they definitely bullied someone out of it.
Probably.
Versus Braun and Braun. Braun Breaker, the son of Scott Steiner. All right.
Okay.
A name you might be familiar with, Zach. So Scott Steiner's son, easy for me to say, and Bronson Reed, who have Paul Heyman in their corner, and Seth Rollins is allegedly injured, but he has the Money in the Bank contract, so maybe he'll come into play later in the night.
Wait, who's hurt again?
Seth Rollins.
Seth is?
Yeah.
Doesn't he get hurt all the time?
He kind of does. He's kind of got bad knees. But
well, I mean, I liked watching him back in like the late teens of the 2000s.
Were you a Shield guy? Were you watching during the Shield?
I was a little bit.
Let's go. Okay.
I remember him back then. So I don't hate the guy. I mean, I feel like he's good. I feel like he's kind of doing the same thing he always does though right now. But now that he's always getting hurt, I'm like, well, crap, he's gonna get hurt during this match.
Oh, he's not in the match. I just wanted to mention it because he's the leader of their group.
So he's gonna be there with talking. He might.
Paul. Oh, so here's the thing. With Seth. He got injured at Saturday night's main event, but some of the dirt sheets have said that he already knew he was injured, and it was more of a minor injury, and so they worked it into the storyline, so that way they could
Give him some time to
say
heal.
so they could say he'd be out for 9 months and then have him show up as a surprise because he's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. So he could come in at any point in time and essentially steal the world title. And it just so happens that his biggest rival, CM Punk, is fighting in the main event on Saturday night for the title. And SummerSlam, also known, even though this would be incredibly short term, SummerSlam's known as like a big return show. You know, like a few years back when Brock Lesnar came back, he comes back at SummerSlam, that kind of stuff. Like that's usually that's one of SummerSlam's little staples. That or the Royal Rumble. Those are the two shows where you're like, okay, I'm expecting someone to surprise me here.
Come out of nowhere.
It's like it's become a trope at this point. So there's that part too, where it's like, well, that would be a big surprise. But this is just essentially Seth Rollins' little cronies, and Paul Heyman turned on Roman Reigns,
right?
And he's with Seth Rollins, and so it's Roman Reigns and his cousin, former Bloodline member Jey Uso, taking on Seth Rollins' flunkies. So how's that do it for you? You want to watch the Shield fight? The other Shield guys,
honestly,
they are awesome.
I'm more interested to see what Paul's gonna say because he does entertain me. I'm gonna be honest with you. As a just a talker, that man entertains the crap out of me.
Oh
so that really pulls me. Yeah. Plus, I like his little. He went on a nice little tour there for a while on all these little talk shows. Really saying some outrageous stuff on there. So I was like, dang, like.
Oh yeah, his interviews, his shoot interviews, as they call them when they break kayfabe, are very entertaining. And the fun part about it is he never turns the shtick off, so you never know if any of these stories are really true. Because that's the thing about Paul Heyman is he is a notorious liar. Ask anyone who worked at ECW. Like he unfortunately made a lot of people who worked for him poor because he was that good of a liar. So he's great. So you never know when it's being embellished and when it's not, but it always makes for a great story. And yeah, he makes this interesting. It feels kind of like just a names match like this. Like, and Braun Breaker is great. I love seeing him get more time and get a bigger push, as I grew up as a huge fan of the Steiner brothers back in my day. So his dad and uncle were two of my favorite wrestlers. So I would watch this one, but this one kind of gives me we just need to fill a card vibe.
Gotcha.
You're like, oh yeah, these are big names. Like this feels like playing with your action figures on your bedroom floor kind of matchmaking. All right. Also known sometimes as AEW booking. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat again. Women's Tag Team Championship, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Does this do it for you?
No, I don't care that there's a Flair in there or not. It does not do it for me. It just doesn't. I'm sorry, but no offense to the women's, they're just, to me, they're not as entertaining as the men. They to me, they just aren't. Not saying they're not good wrestlers, not saying they can't do their job very, very well. It's just what I like the guys more.
Well, that's fair. And I will give you this. I will say that the roster is deeper on
that's probably why.
Side. Like there are, for my money, there are a few women on the roster that you're like, yeah, they can have about as good of a match as the men. But yeah, I mean, you're not alone in that sentiment, I will say, which tells me that this next match will be over with quickly as well. WWE Women's Championship, Tiffany Stratton, the champion, defending against Jade Cargill.
Okay. Again, I mean, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that would be a nice one where I'd have in the background, glance at it every once in a while. Oh, that was a nice move. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's kind of that match where it's like, hey, Kev, let me catch up with you real quick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's one.
Peek over every once in a while. doesn't do it for me, but still check it out. If it was on TV, I'd still look.
Yeah, that one's not selling you on the $8 ticket, but you might watch it. That one, I'll be interested in. We'll see. That one could go a lot of ways, to be honest. But
Yeah.
The main event, I think, is just big enough to keep you like. We all know what's going to happen, but because CM Punk is the challenger, you've always got that in the back of your head.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this guy's been gone for 10 years. They probably paid him a lot of money to come here. It's SummerSlam. It's the main event. Like, they could have Gunther beat him at Raw in 2 days. Like maybe CM Punk will win. Just enough for you to convince yourself that the old man's going to win when he's not. Goldberg fans might have done this just a few weeks ago. I don't know. But so Gunther, the champion, defending against CM Punk, while again, the injured Seth Rollins looms in the shadows with his Money in the Bank briefcase. So
he's gonna walk out at least just to taunt them a little bit with that suitcase. He's gonna look at what I got. Either before or after. I feel like he's gonna taunt it. He's gonna taunt it, but I want to see CM Punk go down. I just like seeing him get beat. Sorry, I just do. He's one of those guys I like to hate.
Most UFC fans do. I don't blame you. I agree. I think that Seth and his boys, well, Seth personally, one of his whole goals is to make sure that hypocrite CM Punk never gets the WWE title. So I do think they will make that a priority to mess his day up. So that is Saturday. So that's day one.
Okay.
We're not doing great as far as getting Zach to want to spend money to watch this. That would be my vibe, right? You're kind of 50-50?
Yeah. I'm coming over to your place right now.
Okay, there we go. All right. So we've got, we'll try to go through this one a little more quickly for you, but we've got Women's Intercontinental Championship, Becky Lynch taking on Lyra Valkyria. Nope. Fair. That one I'll save my commentary on that one for when I go solo. Speaking of solo, cage match for the United States Championship, Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. How do you feel about a cage match?
I mean, I like cage match. I want to see what they do. I hope there's a lot of, in a cage match, I guess, I'm trying to think. I mean, you're not doing too much outside the ring, so I guess it all is going to be contained. So I kind of like that. You're not going to have those too big of delays, you know what I mean, on the outskirts of them getting thrown out and then having to drag himself up. But I like cage matches. That intrigues me.
I think we'll see a big moonsault off the top of the cage, and that will be fun. But yeah, I think a cage match is good. Like, this is one of the things where you don't see it every day. I think this could be a draw for folks who are like, okay, yeah, let's see this. I think as far as the weekly watchers go, a storyline that could have been better, but hey, they're putting it in the cage, so that'll make up for it. This one should be a little bit of fun. Intercontinental Men's Championship, Dominic Mysterio, the champion, son of Rey Mysterio.
Yep.
Taking on the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Okay, that was
DNA, but you might know that name.
Yes, that one sounds interesting. That one piques my interest. I'll be honest, it does. Just the names in general do, because that would be a good matchup. Just because I like them, so that would be something that I would want to tune in and watch.
Same. I think this one will be fun. I'm hoping that Dom wins via pretending AJ hits him with the chair, because his whole thing, the whole month, Dom has been faking being injured, and he's had like this doctor's note that says he's not able to compete, but then he'll go out when any of his faction mates have a match and he'll like interfere with their matches, but then he's always got this paper handy saying, I can't fight you, AJ. So I think it would be perfect if he wins via disqualification. You know how Eddie Guerrero used to do that thing where he'd smack the ring with the chair and then toss it to his opponent, and then the ref would turn around and be like, you're disqualified. I think That is how Dominic should win his title match at SummerSlam. I think the crowd will go nuts for that. And then it gives AJ a reason to get even more pissed. He's been waiting a month to get his hands on Dom. They've been having AJ show up like he's been pretending to work in the arena so he can try to get close to him. And like, so I just think it would add it up. So then one of your lesser pay-per-views, for lack of a better term, now you have a marquee match for that because you're like, oh, I can't wait to see AJ get his hands on this guy. But you also get the homage. Like what Dom is doing is essentially a complete homage to Eddie Guerrero anyway, with the whole Dirty Dom persona he's doing, and having different relationships. It really invokes like Eddie and China and that kind of stuff. And so it's just like, I feel like it's the perfect way to keep that story going. And AJ is a big guy like for the Intercontinental title, and it just keeps the belt on Dom for another month. And so I don't know. That's my little bit of Mark booking there. Women's World Championship, the champion Naomi, who used her Money in the Bank case to steal it from Io Sky in her match against Rhea Ripley. So it's a three-way. Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. So the fans love this one, but how do you feel about it?
They're all wrestling?
Three-way, first to pinfall wins. So the champion can lose the belt without being involved in the finish.
Oh. Interesting. But not as much as the last one. Sorry. The last one has got me written all over it.
That's okay, because I think this main event, this final match, will bring you back Cody Rhodes taking on the never seen 17, the greatest of all time, Mr. John Cena, for the WWE Championship in a street fight. So how do you feel about that as well? Main event, no rules. So people are definitely going to interfere.
How's he going to see him?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Will Cody have a chance to hit John with the belt and just be too pure of heart again? Is that
just so we're not good? The Rock's not going to show up, is he?
I hope not, dude.
Because that would ruin this. It would ruin to me. It would ruin the main event. I'm hoping they keep him out. His heart's not in it anymore. It's not. His heart's been sold to Hollywood. Stay in Hollywood. That's what I have to say to The Rock right now. But back to this actual matchup. Yeah, I want to see it. We're in John Cena's farewell tour. I want to see it.
Yeah, he's only got about 5 months left, maybe 4 actually. We're at the end of July here. So, yeah, I think John probably loses this one to Cody. I think, generally speaking, Cody is the guy right now, and it makes the most sense. He lost it to John, and John cheated him and all that stuff. So I think it makes the most sense for him to win it, and then that gives John Cena enough time to go back to being a good guy for his last few events. And so he don't have to pretend he hates the crowd, and he can finally, give them the love that he wants to give them and be cheered and do all the high energy stuff that I'm sure he wants to do. So I think that's how it goes. I agree with you. I hope The Rock stays far, far away. They just got rid of Travis Scott, which not necessarily a Rock problem, but at this point, The Rock never came back. When it was WrestleMania and it was just Travis Scott, that was such a disappointment. But both those guys have been gone from this whole thing. Cena has, done his best with it. He's made it his own thing at this point. The Rock absolutely may have tried to come back. Like, it seems like the exact thing he would do. And be like, oh yeah, now get me involved again now. When it's convenient for me and might let the air out of the bag for somebody else. That's perfect. But I agree with you. Keep him away from it. Get the belt back on Cody. And I wonder, some people are guessing that it'll be a double switch where Cody in Retribution kind of goes bad guy, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think maybe that's where we do see The Rock. Is something's got to give John the opportunity to go back to being a good guy. So that's where I'm not sold that we won't see The Rock, especially because he and John have a storied rivalry, and The Rock is a member of the board, so he still needs to make money off this. So I could see him coming back so that John could kick him in the nuts or something and give him a one last attitude adjustment. And then so then way John can go back to being a good guy and turn on the guy who he sold his soul to. Because otherwise, you got to do like the double turn, like Brett and Stone Cold back in the day, where it's like the good guy turns bad and the bad guy turns good. And I don't know if they want to do that with Cody yet. He's still selling a lot of merch. So,
yeah, don't want to ruin that up because, I feel like these 2 days, they're just trying to bring all that money into because they're trying to make up all the money they spent buying everything.
Yeah, that's probably got a lot to do with it too. So there it is, brother. What do you think? Are you going to throw down $8 for Peacock with ads to watch this bad boy?
Yeah, I probably would. I mean, I'd probably throw $8 down. I don't know if it's because of that or because, if I'm not trying to rain your parade here, but Notre Dame football starts the end of this month though too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I never think right on my parade. Don't remind me about that, about those 2 football teams that are going to break my heart here in about a month. God bless it.
I'll leave that for your on Bite Side Sports NFL podcast. I won't get into that for you on that one. But on Notre Dame, I will always jab at you for though.
Well, I appreciate you, brother.
You don't have a Notre Dame podcast, okay? So I can.
Yeah, that'll be your show. I'll just produce it. You can talk, and I'll be the pessimist guy that talks like 10 minutes of the whole show. It'll be perfect. Yeah,
we're never winning.
Thing going on.
We're never winning again.
Yeah. Exactly. I can be a shelter in the storm for all those fans who are just never happy. I can be like, oh, hey, one of us. God, they suck, dude. They suck every time. Well, there you have it, folks. That was the Wrestling Minute SummerSlam this weekend. I will be watching, but I already pay for Peacock, so it is what it is.
I might be going over to Kevin's. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch.
Hey, there we go. Well, that about wraps it up for us. Zach, you got any shout outs or anything you want to remind the folks at home about before we bid farewell?
Just keep your eyes open this week. We're going to be dropping the rest of Flag City Fight Night. That was a amateur kickboxing pro boxing card, the first that we've ever done. And I hear there's more to come. So if that's something that you enjoy, that you like, stay tuned. And always look on CarnageMediaPPV.com for any new articles coming out by either Kevin or Clayton. Those are always available. And then you can always get past pay-per-views there. Don't forget, you can also join the $5 Fight Club, where we have all of our past pay-per-views put on there. Just $5 a month, you can catch all of our past stuff going through 2025. Kevin, how about you, buddy?
No, that's about it for me too, gang. Just do what he says and make sure you keep an eye out for upcoming Benchmark Pro Wrestling events because they just had Fallout and the show looks incredible. Follow them on Facebook and check out the photos. We were unfortunately double booked. So while we were doing Flag City Fight Night, Benchmark Pro Wrestling had Fallout in a different Ohio town. And so we weren't there to get our footage for the channel, unfortunately, for this one. But we'll get you guys updated with a video and let you know what happened at that show so you can follow along. But keep an eye out for future shows. And if you want to catch the previous matches or the full cards, go check those out. We got a playlist all carved out for you. But no, other than that, I would say turn those notifications on because we give you free fights every night and podcast clips and different videos as well. So if you want to make sure you don't miss our next free live event, you might want to have those notifications on. But until next time, we just thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us. We've got Carnage Fight Series 3 just a few short weeks away, August 23rd. Budka versus Sandlin at the Cube, an incredible venue. So if you're able to drive, come see us in person. Just don't walk past the caution tape And otherwise, come hang out with us on Carnage Media, ppv.com. From Zach, Kev, and Wade in spirit, we want to say good night to you guys, and we will see you next week.